Welcome to CK4RC.
No more bull riding in the house. Hey, welcome back to CK4RC. We got RCs, we got this, and we got indoor bull riding, evidently. So, yeah, let's get into it. Got a couple Enduro24 trail runners on the bench today. I've got the stock one right here, and I've got a slightly modded version right over here. We're going to do a head-to-head competition today. That's what we're going to do. So as you can see, there's probably a little bit of a difference here in the ride height. I've trimmed up the body lines on this to make way for the bigger tires, and then obviously there's bigger tires. If you've seen the build video, you know what I've done to it. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. I'm not going to go back through it again. I've already done that. So with the classic 24 scale rigs, I went with the classic CK4RC shirt from Only RCs down here. If you have one of these shirts and it doesn't have this, it's a phony. Don't do that. Go to onlyrcs.com, get all the stuff you want, and then use my discount code. I'm going to drop it, double tap down below 2 times, because down below in this area, that's where you get the likes and the ding dongs and all that stuff, the subscribes and the bells. But down there again in the comments, that's where I'm going to put my discount code. Use that, get 20% off everything you buy from them. You can't argue with that, so don't. Anyway, so here's what we're working with today. 2 Element Enduro 24s. I have some contests lined up in mind, in store. We'll see what happens. But before we head outside, I want to just show a couple things, a couple differences just from the mods, so you can see up close and personal, direct comparison, apples to apples, just to see how much of a difference those modifications actually made. So first up, I want to get in here with as much light as I can, just so you can see the difference in the ride height. Look at how low the pumpkin is on the left, that's the stock one, versus the pumpkin on the right, that's the modded one with the bigger tires, and look how much higher that is. Also, see how low the horn is on the stock one on the left? And then over there on the right, you can barely even see it. Yes, the ride height is different and it raises it, but I mean, just compared, look at the straight on view with the frames. I mean, it just sticks down so much more. And so that's what I got right there. And then next up, I just want to check some weight. So we'll start with the stock one and get that sitting up here on the scale. This does have the stock 1S battery in there, and we're talking 141.9. No, 241.9. It helps if I can read. 241.9 for the bone stock Element Enduro 24 Trail Runner. 241.9. Now here is my modded with the brass skid plate, the bigger tires, and we're looking at 262.9. This also has a 2S battery in it because that's going to be part of the test and the upgrades. So we're talking what, like an 80 gram difference there? Whew. All right, now let's get outside and run these things. All right, so first up, I'm going to do a turn test. I'm going to check the radius of these two things and see what kind of impact the bigger tires have, because in theory, it should have a wider turn radius with the bigger tires. So let's see. We're going to start right here at this crack. As you can see, it runs pretty consistently all the way down this little area, this little concrete pad. So I'm just going to crank the steering. I'm going to give it a little bit of juice. And we're going to see how well these things will turn. All right. So there is full 180 right there for the stock. There's the stock. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of one of the weirdest features I think exists about these rigs. I'm going to pop off the top control part of the grip, of the pistol. And then I'm going to pop it back onto this one here, hit that power switch, and then I'm going to get this guy rolled up to the line. Start him right at the same spot, as you can see right there on the line. Crank the steering. It does not seem to be steering this way as much as it does the other direction. It's kind of odd. Anyway, here we go. This is nowhere close to the box stock. And I did check the steering dual rate and steering trim, all that good stuff. Actually, the steering trim is off on this one a little bit, so it must have got bumped. Okay, I'm going to try that one again, actually. And right here was the starting point. Why is it still... All right, I'm going to try it one more time. Try to get that steering trim as even. There we go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And it really did not make a bit of a difference, because that is a full 180 from the starting point. And as you can see from here, just right around here, that box stock with those smaller tires, I mean, that's a full car length. I could lay my pistol between these two and there's still space. So larger tires definitely affects the maneuverability as expected, but there is the visual evidence. All right, now we're back with the stock trail runner, and we're going to hit the course, and we're going to see what this little guy is capable of on the course, which, to be quite honest, I'm not really expecting much. The fact that it got over that log run right there was impressive enough. I'm going to try to keep it in frame. Yeah, so right there, as you can imagine, those front tires are just so small, and that pumpkin just is so low. Little angle on it, and I can make a little something happen. All right, managed to bail out of that okay. And now here comes kind of even more of a real test here. That leaf isn't doing me any favors with being able to see what's going on. But looky there, though. That's not so bad. The fact that it even just got up here, that's impressive enough on its own, to be quite honest with you. All right, now we're coming up to this little section. I can even, that pumpkin is just hung up on that rock. There we go, okay. So this section right here I like to call Hangman's Pass, because you get up here, and if you don't have just the right line, it will stand your vehicle straight up and hang you out to dry. See if I can get these leaves out of the way. That's the bad news about an outdoor course, is all the debris. Yeah, just not getting anything out of this. This 1S power supply is just woefully underpowered. So you just give it a little bit of a boost here, a little hand of God action. Get it up here on the incline, get it past that little section, and let's see what it can do. And the answer here is not much. It just keeps getting hung up. And it just doesn't want to go in any direction. that was a bad line. That one was my fault. That one was on me. I'll take the blame for that. All right, so what happens here is this thing is so underpowered. It does not have the torque it needs. It doesn't have the ground clearance it needs. And that 1S battery just really doesn't do it any favors. I got to be quite honest with you, though. The fact that we've got through this section right there as well as it did, I'm pretty impressed with that. All right, now this part is always difficult. And I do not have high hopes with this truck. But, oh, the drag brake just wasn't quite there for me, and it slid into a bad spot. But if it wasn't for that unfortunate little slide, this thing actually would have handled that bridge remarkably well. Wow, okay. And then bring it over along this end. Wow. Yeah, got a little off course right there. And the chute is not going to be very kind to this truck, I believe. But it's got the front wheels jammed in there. Is this thing about to just dominate the chute? Whoa! And across the line. All right, time for the modded Enduro24, and let's see what this version is capable of on the CK4RC testing ground out here. So already I am noticing a difference, that the ride height just makes a significant difference here. I started to go on a different line than what I took the stock one on, so that wasn't really fair of me to do that. But right there, I mean, the stock one, how long did it take to get over that little bump? And again, the wheel and tire combination that I put on this thing is not good. It's nothing special at all. But just the size difference gives such a big advantage. I mean, good night. Look at this. The thing is just climbing so much better. And this is still running on 1S. I haven't switched over the battery yet. And this little area right here, this Hangman's Pass area that I call it, this is tough for any truck. So I'm not going to beat it up too much for not being able to make that. But let me see what it's capable of here. As you remember, that stock one got hung up just right there on that little bitty transition. And this one, that was more of my poor driving than anything with the truck. So see if I can get it back up here and get it back online with that I had with the stock one. Okay, so this one, wow, I put it in a bad spot right there. Okay. I really need to be careful. The control of this truck is just so questionable because the motor is just not great. Whether it's the motor, the ESC, whatever the situation is, it's just not great. So now here is the real hard part. Wow, the stock one actually made it through this a lot better than that. And maybe might have just been the line that I tried this time. Didn't quite have it lined up the same way, maybe. And back. Wow, that's so much better right there, just that clearance. It didn't high point nearly as bad on that pointy log. And then right after I say that, of course, I have to reverse and I end up getting hung up. Goodness. All right, and here we are back at the chute with these bigger tires. Now I am very curious to see what kind of effect that has. And it is really wedged in here and it's binding up that motor. It just doesn't want to go. Man. All right, so it made it with a little bit of assistance there. Let's switch over to 2S and see what happens. And we are lined back up with the modded Enduro24, now running under 2S. So let's, oh man. I'm not sure if you guys are picking up what's happening here with this wheel speed. First of all, it's a lot harder to control. Second of all, it's insane. This is bonkers. I really don't know. I mean, is it because the wheel speed is just so crazy that like it just cannot get a grip? I mean, why can't it just get over this first log? I don't understand. I mean, I've watched enough Top Gear to know Jeremy Clarkson's motto of more power. I mean, that's just the answer. And I have given this thing more power by like twice as much. Not sure if that math checks out, but that's what I'm going to go with. These leaves are killing me. But this wheel speed is noticeably different, but I can't control it. I mean, this thing is insane. Can I get a little rock bouncer action going on up here with Hangman's Pass? Can I just bounce my way up? Oh. And that's why I call it Hangman's Pass, because it will stand you up and hang you out to dry. Just curious to try that again. Yep, just like that. I might be ready to move on because this thing is just unwieldy. I mean, there's no throttle control with this. Guys, listen, I'm not good at driving, but this is not on me. If I get just a little bit of gas, this thing just takes off. And that's not my fault this time. I mean, there's no smoothness. There's no throttle control. Ended up on its lid. It made it across the bridge, but it ended up on its lid. This thing. So there is zero question that the 2S definitely gives this thing way more power. But honestly, it's not usable power. It's really just more power than this thing can handle. Which is crazy. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It did just power its way through the chute though. So one more test. We're going to call this a day. So there's the head-to-head competition. I was actually going to do one more test. I was going to do a drag race between the 1S and the 2S just to show you how much faster the wheel speed is with that 2S battery. However, I'm out of AAA batteries in the house, so I'm going to have to go get some. What I'll do is once I have some more AAAs, I'll line up a drag race between these two just for giggles, and I'll post a short on the channel. So keep an eye out for that. Overall, yes, the performance was noticeably better when this was on 1S. When it was on 2S, it was out of control, and it just wasn't usable power. So if you have an extra set of wheels and tires handy, go ahead and throw them on there because it helps. If you're looking for a project and you have one of these, yeah, it's probably worth messing around with. If you don't have one of these and you're looking for a project, is it worth it? Probably not. I'd probably pass on this and find a different platform to work with. There's just not the support and the aftermarket parts available for this thing to make it a really capable rig. So that is my opinion. That's my analysis. Thanks for checking it out. Don't forget to hit the quadfecta before you go. All the things down here, the likes and the thumbs up and the bells and the ding dongs, and subscribe, share, comment, do all that stuff. And I'll see you next time. Don't forget to go to Only RCs for one of these awesome shirts. CK4RC to get 20% off. Keep doing RC stuff.